good afternoon. Welcome back to MDS. Today, we are going to have a Q&A session with Is-Okay and my mother, Minister Thelma Okay. If you have not been here before, please do well to like and subscribe. And if you have been here before, welcome back. And I hope you enjoyed today's episode. Let's get straight into it.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me on the hot seat. I hope I survived today.
Of course.
Okay, let's hit the road.
Okay,
Where are we starting from?
So, question 1. Why does an adult feel that he or she is right? Like, maybe when they are giving an instruction and a child tells you, Ma, I don't think this is the way. And they should not be like, I have more experience than you and you should listen to me. Or during a disagreement, why do they just feel like they are right?
Well, I think if you to be honest, I think every adult is different actually. I personally would think we're coming from unfortunately, you guys are the Gen Z, you're the now. We're coming from the then when we were growing up, we're told to do things in a certain way. We're just given instructions. Back in those days, it's like your mom would say jump, you say how high. You don't get to say, oh, this height is too high or whatever. We don't actually put ourselves in a place of argument. And if you watch well, most of your teachers are not actually from the Gen Z time. They are actually people, whether teachers or most adults, are getting into this time. And
especially teachers, yeah. Teachers, I won't lie, in school, teachers don't allow students to speak their opinion in, like, if there's a disagreement. Like, I happen to have experienced that a few days ago with my basic technology teacher.
Wow.
So
where you feel like your opinion wasn't heard or where you feel you were misunderstood.
Yes.
Okay, sorry to say, that's why I say I might not be able to speak for everybody. But guys, if you have been following MDS, one of our key missions for MDS is for us adults to learn to unlearn. So usually, from what you're saying I might not be able to speak for every adult, but I can tell you that some of these things stem from how we were brought up back then. So a lot of people in our time were not actually, we were not brought up to argue with our people that are older than us. Whether your father, whether your auntie, anybody older than you seem to be right. You just keep quiet. But now we're in a time when it's different, where conversation is going on. People are letting their vulnerability down. Back in those days, you don't have parents. That's why back in those days, guys, if you agree with me now, everybody's father was carrying first in class. We even will ask, who carried second now? Did the whole class carry first? And you said this person was your classmate. He carried first, you carried first. A lot those days, parents were not actually bringing their vulnerability to their children. So
I believe that's a problem.
Yes,
I believe that's a problem.
Yeah, it's a problem because that's why it's looking like, coming from where they're coming, they're wondering, why are you challenging what I'm saying? I'm telling you to keep quiet. You're asking me, telling me, what did you do? You're not supposed to challenge me. It's because of how we were raised back then.
But if a child doesn't have the ability or the will to speak to an adult, like based on their opinion, then I don't think that their relationship is going to be as close as they wanted it to be, because they'll always feel like the parent is won't listen. So the relationship won't be as healthy as it was supposed to be.
Exactly. So guys, you see, we're back to, when on MDS, we try to encourage our folks, our parents, our friends, friends to the families, aunties, to kind of open up to these children, allow them to come in with what they have to say. And for us to actually listen, we keep asking for God for that grace, the ability to listen and learn. Because these children are like, we don't listen. We only want to give out instruction and we think we're right all the time.
But
and that's
most children will now use that will or ability that they have to speak their opinion, to start saying things that are far beyond the line. Because you have the right to speak your opinion, you're not going to be saying things as if the adult is your mate, and that is why I think most adults don't tend to listen to children.
Exactly. So now you see, it's coming back to the point of bridging the gap. There's a gap. There's somewhere that everybody will meet each other halfway, where there's need for us adults to listen to the children, and where also the children will not have to know the line not to cross when talking to an adult, basically. Because I mean, you won't say because somebody is listening to you, you now not know the boundary or know when to talk or know the tone of voice to use. So at every point in time, there's a point that you have to hold yourself to say, oh, I don't want to talk beyond here. I'm talking too much, and watching what you say to your adult, even if the person is giving you a listening ear. So sometimes it gets to the point where, oh, you have to listen to me, stay quiet, because sometimes kids tend to talk too much. So that's where parenting comes in, for you to know where to allow your child, what the ability, to what extent your child can reach out and talk back, because talking back is rude. Any which way you look at it, you're not allowed to talk back. That's why for us at home, I say, okay, if I'm mad at something, or what do I always say? I say, if I'm mad at something, allow me
like 1 hour.
Exactly.
They come back.
Exactly. I say, give me a little bit of time, then come back to tell me where I'm not getting it right or where I'm not hearing you properly.
Because if you try to talk to them at the stage in points of their anger, they won't listen to you.
Exactly. Because that becomes rude. That becomes you're answering me back. Oh, I'm talking. Why are you talking back to me? That's what it looks like. But like I always say, I was like, give it some time and come back and say, mommy, I'm sorry that you're angry, but look at where you saw it and look at how I saw it. I'm so sorry that it got you angry. That was why I said I was coming to bring my own perspective again, to let you understand from where I was coming from. I'm sorry I hurt you in that way. So I just think that even though we're in this generation of where everything looks like it's on the table, there still have to be that God factor, that a child knows that they need to honor, obey their father and their mother, because the Bible was so clear on that. It said, honor your mother and the father, so that your days might be long on the earth, which the Lord your God has given unto you. So there is a need to honor, there's a need to obey, there's a need for respect. If not, God won't be standing on it. But as you grow along, that's obeying and honoring your father becomes a conversation a conversation between a mother and a son, mother and a daughter. As the time goes on, it doesn't look like it's obeying anymore. It now looks like a conversation where there's rubbing of minds as age comes along. Because when we grow older, we tend to now listen to our kids. Your kids now start looking after you one way or the other, either by caring, oh, mommy, how are you today? Are you okay? I hope you're taking your medication and all of that. Do you understand? So I just think all of this thing is coming from a little bit of differences here and there. And I think there is a middle ground. So it's not like children don't want to, or adults don't want to listen. I think it's the timing and how you present what it is you want to say.
And another thing also is that when children feel like they have a lot of knowledge and they say that, and they feel like whatever they say is going to make an impact or is going to make sense, they also tend to step out of boundaries. Like there was this one when I was younger, there was this one day that my mom was talking to me, and then because I felt like I knew what I was saying, I can't even remember what we were talking. She was talking about not going to, I can't really remember. Okay, she was talking, my friend was supposed to follow us to travel, and then she was talking about how that she also gets a decision in whether to travel. And because I felt like I had more knowledge as a guy, I told her that but my dad is the one that has the money, so he's the one that decides whether she gets to come or not. And then my mom got really angry, and then later she came and told me that that's not how it works, and that the mother also has a say in those kind of situations.
I remember that scenario very well. We really need to kind of make our children understand that marriage is a partnership, and we get to share on decisions, just like we share burdens, just like we share love, just like we share everything in marriage. So there was a need for a sense of clarity, at this point in time. Oh, you can't just say it's one-sided, because I understand where you're coming from. So that's just like a one-off, but there are other things as well, where we all have to agree to meet each other halfway, to understand and make sure that we're all on the same page together. So basically that's it.
Okay, question 2. What are the differences in raising a boy and a girl child?
That one is very tricky. Oh. Very, very tricky.
I mean, one
But
of the children are sitting here right now. I need to hear what she has to say about how the challenges she had raising me, especially me.
I'm still raising you now. Am I not? Well, I think being a woman, turning to a girl child means that you can understand some aspects of her, either because you've been through it at some point, so you know how she's feeling about probably an issue, maybe growing into a little adolescent, have getting her period. You can understand it. You can understand some of the mood swings that come with it, the discomfort, and all of that. So raising a female child as a woman becomes more like an interactive relationship, because you guys can talk about some span of things, like a wide range of things, and understand each other. And also you can bring her into perspective, like using my own experiences, so I can use my own experiences as a woman. But raising a boy child is different, because you are nurturing a future, you're nurturing a generation, a man that will step out there and create his own empire, create his own family, his own dynasty. So it's different to raise a boy child, because for me, I think it needs more detailing. Like I can tell what it would take for a man to be a good husband. For instance, I can tell you, oh, you need to. I can say, oh yeah, you need to study. I can say, oh, you also need to have this relationship with God, because once you have it, and you are the priesthood in your family, you tend to lead the way. And when you have that, and your family takes that lead, life just becomes easier. So raising a boy child is quite different, because it takes a toll on you prayer wise. You just know that it's not about you telling your boy child, oh, I've experienced this before, because you have not experienced being a boy before. But that's where daddy's coming. That's where, after the nurturing stage, after the stage where you nurture the child, you take care of him, he now grows to a point where he now goes into a relationship with his dad, where his dad now comes in with the same kind of expertise I have as a woman to the boy child, like where you are now with your daddy, where you guys talk a lot, you guys share experiences a lot, and you tell him exactly how you're feeling about some certain issues. I also go back to him to say, oh, I think Dami is going through this. I think I need you to look into that. I need you to talk to,
Because of course there are some things that the boy child won't be able to tell his mother. So when a mom feels that the boy child hasn't
come to them.
come to them and start talking to them, it's just because at that time the boy doesn't feel like
Sharing that experience with the mom.
yes, so it might take a while, but eventually he will still come out to his mother.
Oh,
his
yeah.
mother.
Okay, guys, you're hearing it from a boy child that we should wait around prayerfully while we learn, while we try to get some kind of material knowledge of what a child is going through from age to age. Because there are some things I expected from my boy child at a certain age. While I was praying, I was also looking out for that, the stage of puberty, the stage of all the mind stages, because I learned that there are a lot of mind stages in a boy child. And by God's grace and help and some level of research, studying, and opening my mind to learning, I was able to learn that, oh, these are the phases that the boy will navigate through. And some of those things, of course, as the mother, you are more attentive, so you see some of this thing when it starts coming up. So that's where you discuss with the daddies, or with an uncle, or with someone that is close to the child, the boy child.
That is a man.
That is a guy for him to relate freely with. And at that point, you can tell, hoping and praying that role model, it's someone that they can, you trust, your trust for what values that they have. Because also we need to be mindful of people we either navigate, to these are for maybe mommies that need like a male figure in their family because of one reason or the other. And you find that right person, that right man, that has that God value for you, for your son, to also relate with. Because we can't leave any stone unturned. It's very necessary that we find those relationships and attach it to our boy children. Because right now I'm enjoying the fact that by God's grace, I've been blessed with having a hands-on husband and father to our two kids. I'm blessed with that. I don't take it for granted. So I think at this point in time, the child is enjoying that intimacy with having a father that he can go to ask these intimate questions. And like he rightfully said, some of them I know before. I kind of know before because I'm the one nurturing. So I know before, and I go to my husband and say, honey, see, you need to look into this. You need to discuss this with Dami. You need to do that. So I enjoy that feedback. That's, going in and coming, and, that's able to, for him to be able to express himself there. So it's quite important. So yeah, raising a boy child has been fun, but
as well, there are also
it's a lot of work.
There are also going to be a lot of things that a dad can't tell, that a dad can't talk to the son about, and it has to be the mother that has to talk to the son about it. Like, for example, when the time comes and the mom wants to talk to you about like things about how to be a good husband, because a dad can't talk to you about that because he's not the one. He won't notice the trait he's giving up to his wife.
But that's far long away in the journey. By the time a boy grows from your age to being a young man, to being a man that's ready for settling down, there are also processes, I mean, you grow, like we know, like we are all work in progress. It's a process. We keep talking about process this period because, in this day and age, in this new normal, whatever this new normal may be, a lot of people want to make haste. They want to get there on time. They want everything is time. But everything is actually process. There is time for everything. There's a time to nurture. There's a time to get mature. There's time for everything. So I just think that when that time is right, and before you get to that point, you would have gone through that process. You would have matured. You would have gone through life in its own stages. You would have gotten to a point where, yes, you can, sit down with your mom and say, at a time like this, I'm ready for this, and I want to hear your opinion about that. So I just think, it's just a child will run, a child will crawl, a child will walk, and a child will run. So it's all in the process. So, for us generally, but, we also want to ask, like mommies, we want to find out from the boys that what is it with this, once you're getting a bit on this adolescent stage, you guys tend to be a lot introverted. Like, if not for books and studying, you'll be wondering, is my son okay? Please, when is the borderline? Can I ask that question? Because you're at that stage right now. If not that we've grown a bond relationship where we talk a lot, and I'm that kind of mommy that actually comes to you and worries you, we talk and all of that. I'm wondering all the mommies that are also introverted and a bit quiet, what happens to them when you get to this stage? What do you have to tell the mommies when your son is getting to this age where they are passing through this hormonal phase where your child is becoming so introverted? What do you have to say to us so that our worry is not so much on the high side?
Okay, during adolescence, the parents just need to focus more and be more attentive to that boy child, because in this era it's all about electronics. So as an adolescent, there's going to be this kind of feeling of addiction towards phones. So you're always going to try and be on your phone, and always and it's not quite good to like be obviously stuck to your phone in public. So you're always going to try to be on your electronics alone. So the parents should just focus, the mom should just focus more on their boy children during the adolescent stage, keep on checking on them.
Guys, please, there's a book I'm going to talk about, or I'm going to put it down at this I'm going to put it on our comment section. The book is good. We read that book as a family. It's good when you have all the sex of children at home, even if it's just girls, if it's just boys.
How to talk about sex to your child.
Yes, how to talk about sex to your child. It's a very educative book, and that book kind of opened us up and made us accessible to one another. And that book talked about, and guys, please be open-minded to seminars, to conferences, to reaching out to learning more in this age, because whether you like it or not, we didn't come from the now, we came from the then. So we have a lot to learn and catch up. And going to all these conferences has also opened my mind, learning from different aspects, learning from different women, women who have just boys children telling you their experiences. And from one of those sessions, I was able to pick up and say, once you have an adolescent, don't allow your adolescent to go to bathroom with phone. Oh. Don't allow them to be on duvet under the covers with phone. Don't allow them to sleep with the phone.
Because when an adolescent boy is with his phone, and like mom said, he's going to be introverted. Electronics has like a good and bad side. So the devil might want to use the bad part of electronics by exposing children to things that they are not ready to see, which includes
we all know, which includes pornography at a young age. These are addictive things. You see, we talk about, that's why I said that book is key. That book kind of allows your children to open up to you. I really do suggest that book. I got that book in a conference, in the conference with the War Room in London. That book was introduced. It was an amazing conference sometime early last year. Shout out to NHN. God bless you for the vision of the War Room. It's been a great instrument, and it's been eye-opening. So this book was actually introduced there to mothers who came, because it was a family conference, and it was so mind explosive for I and my kids. And when we got into that book, we read it chapter to chapter together, and each chapter just kept on opening us to one another, and things became less difficult to talk about. And for me, I always say, when I find this thing, I'm willing to give it out to you guys on time. You don't have to wait for your children to get all the way to adolescent age before you start reading books together that are educative, because you'll be shocked what our kids know and to what level they are already exposed. So that was really something that was there to me last year. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed where it took us to, how it bonded us, and we found out things with each other, especially when we're in the circle. We're all just having fun, getting to know each other, being open to one another. So it's a book I recommend dearly. And part of that conference, we learned about a lot of things about having adolescent children and addiction. We had beautiful orators in the conference that talked about different aspects, mental well-being. There are lots and lots to come on MDS, as God willing. So it's something that is quite educative, and knowing your child, knowing your adolescent at this age, so even when they are quiet, you're able to, you can say, I know my child to a certain level, even if we know that these children can be somehow sometimes, but at least you should be able to say in the depth, in the place of prayer. Like I always say, we can't neglect that part, because really nobody is omnipotent or omnipresent. But while you're in the place of deep prayer, revelations will come, insight will come on how to raise your children right, because each child is special, each child is different. So for the boy child, I can assure you that it's a lot of work for a mother. You just can't sit back. Some of us are blessed, when you have a child that has different kinds of strengths. But we thank God. God is helping us, and we're getting there. And we're happy to share with you. Please bring on your questions. If there's an area we haven't touched that you feel you actually have the need to hear my opinion or our opinion about it, we're very willing and very open to share what God has bestowed in our hearts in this season. Thank you so much. So what's next on the bucket?
Okay. Question 3 for the hot seat owner. Why do parents tend to adhere to the story of the elders rather than give their children a listening ear during an argument or crisis?
What?
Why do you tend to adhere to the story of the elders rather than give the children a listening ear during an argument or crisis?
Well. It's not the way you make it sound, actually. Okay, I'm going to read this one scripture. And ye fathers, provoke not your children to wrath, but bring them up in the nature and admonition of the Lord.
What scripture is that?
Ephesians 6. Sorry, guys.
Ephesians 6.
Yes, Ephesians 6:4. Now, and ye fathers, provoke not your children to wrath, but bring them up in the nature and admonition of the Lord. That's the fear of God. What's your question? What's your question again? Because
why do parents tend to adhere to the story of the elders rather than give the children a listening ear during an argument or a crisis.
It's not all parents. When you ask this question, it's too general. Me, I learnt my lesson the hard way, didn't I?
No.
I learned my lesson. So sometimes we need to go through the lesson. Sometimes. But at the same time too, we're trying to make sure that we bring you guys up in such a way that you at least and have the fear of the Lord. Because it's not like we tend to tilt towards listening to an adult. It all comes to obedience, and it all comes to respect. Like I said again, sometimes it's manner of approach, how you approach the situation. It's not like we're saying that the adults are right all the time. Like, yes, sometimes you tend to, let's say for instance, guys, I want to give you guys an example of what happened between me and Dami. There was one time he had some issues at class with a teacher. So there was a misunderstanding. And the teacher just came and just said, that he was hurt. The way that Ace approached him, or the way that Ace handled the situation in class. Being mindful of the fact that in as much as he didn't expect it from him as a person, that he did not expect such reaction or such input. For me, I just felt like, for crying out loud, why were you involved in this kind of rubbish in class? If somebody has an opinion about your teacher, must you put your mouth?
She didn't even allow me to explain.
Wait, I agree now. I'm sure I'm the one telling the story. I'll learn my lesson. So I now said, for me at that point in time, like I always say, later you can come back and change the narrative. But at that point in time, my anger was, why are you found there? That was my point at that time. That was my anger. I haven't even gotten to the point where I want to ask, what did you do or what did you not do? My own is that, why were you involved? If a child had something to say about your teacher, why did you put your mouth? Why did you put your mouth? That was what my own point was. And when the teacher said that, the teacher was hurt and was explaining, he didn't expect that from Ace and everything, blah, blah, blah. So my anger with him then was, why were you involved? Even if someone is doing something, does not mean that you need to be involved. Sometimes you need to step away. Sometimes whether you are right or wrong is not the issue now. Don't even contribute. So that was where I was coming from. And at the end of the day, he's looking at me now, waiting for the end of the story. Yeah, at the end of the day, it happened that the narrative was different. Because later, after being upset, I now listened to the story from both sides. I now heard what he had to say, how it happened, and how it was presented. So how it was presented was different from how it happened. And what I heard was what led to my own conclusion. So, but like we said, remember guys, MDS, we learn to unlearn. So I unlearned by telling you, if you listen to one of our series, I said one of my biggest one of the biggest things I've learned to unlearn is the ability. I listen now. I listen. Because yes, as a mother, it can't be right all the time. I now listen. And it led me to knowing my son at that level. I was open to listening. So I now listened and now realized that yes, I saw it from a different perspective.
But there is like kind of a reason in, let's say, a school environment. If you're this kind of student that is always, disturbing, making noise, always caught talking, always sent out, even if there is an issue and you're involved, even though you are not wrong, because of your behavior in the past, teachers already have it in their mindset that you're the one that did it.
That is why image is important. You want to act the way you want. You want to act the way you want someone to address you. You have to package your image. You have to just know that I don't want to be known to be a trouble person. I don't want to be known to be a noisemaker. I don't want to be known to be a talkative in class. So it's not like even when I'm somewhere else, I'm not even where the thing happened, they'll say, you're there. No. You don't want to be involved in that. So which is back to character building. Knowing who you are and know who you are in Christ. is very important, because that regalia puts you in a place where, when you know who you are in Christ, you know that I'm not supposed to have this character, this character, this character,
Or
and
this
that can,
kind of or this kind of friends.
or this kind of friends, because that would distinguish you from the rest. And at such point, rather, what will be said when somebody says, this person was there? No, he can't be among them. So it can swing both ways. So for me, parents, I just think that we need to get to know our kids more. We need to also pay more attention. We need to be more attentive, as the case may be, different issues, and learn more and listen more, and not be judgmental. As you can see, they're accusing us of not listening and not even getting to hear what their own side is in a situation. So thank you guys for watching. Master Ace, you have to close the podcast.
Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you guys later.
Thank you. Bye.